All right, let's try this again. So, maybe you feel like your voice isn't heard because as I was recording this, the audio didn't record halfway through. So, let's get on with this. Okay, so why your mom dislikes you, okay? And you know she does. All right, so I pulled up 5 cards that is going to go into why, right? And then I asked another question: do you remind her, or do you remind her of your dad? And the answer was yes. And the card that came up was the 8 of Pentacles, and it's about working hard. Maybe that describes your dad, but I'm going to go deeper into that, right? And then I asked, am I speaking to a woman? And the Page of Wands came up. So that's going to be also describing you. I also pulled a card for you, where you are in the journey of life. So let's get to it. So the first card, the first card that I have is the Swords, all right? And maybe this describes your mom. Sneaky, getting away with something, being strategic, okay? Ring a bell, right? So the 7 of Swords is about being deceptive, using trickery day in and day out. You know, maybe when you were a kid, you were like, my mom lies to everyone, but not me, right? How silly, right? Maybe she's cunning. She's resourceful for all the wrong reasons, right? She kind of like laughs in your face and pretends to like you. Maybe everybody thinks, hey, you have such a great mom. Yeah, you really don't know her yet. Anyways, the 7 of Swords in general is said to be about betrayal and deception. When you get this card, it may imply that you or someone else in your life is having difficulty getting away with something. There are instances where we are forced to be sneaky, hoping that we will not be discovered. When we are found out, we have to face the consequences, whether it's embarrassment, punishment, or worse. Sometimes this happens when there are instances when you have to think on your feet and did something that was somewhat shrewd and out of character. Now there is the danger of this secret coming out, all right? And this card here describes you. You're happy, right? It's the wish card, all right? Maybe there's a wish that you've been working on or hoping for that is coming true, all right? So it's the Cups. It's about emotions, about the unconscious, your intuition perhaps. Frequently talk about relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, and one imagination and inner world. They are associated with the element of water, which becomes a frequent visual theme within the suit. At their worst, the Cups suit is fraught with uncontrolled feelings, fantasy, and disconnect with one's inner voice. Maybe this describes you. So the 9 of Cups is about a wish come true, or you're being fulfilled or happy, you know, or you're currently satisfied with how your personal life is going. You know, maybe you've left the house, you know, maybe you're on your own, you know, and you're experiencing true contentment, true contentment, all right? Again, wishes come true, you're satisfied. Maybe you're successful at your job. Maybe you got a promotion or something that you achieved, or maybe you're experiencing some sort of recognition. Okay? So, after a long journey, the Nine of Cups symbolizes the finding of self-satisfaction. The emotional journey of the Cups is starting to come to a close after the volatile ups and downs you faced in your earlier number of the suits. Again, it's about your emotions. You have struggled to find purpose and joy after loss. You have tasted the different things that life offers, and you have left comfort in order to find greater heights. Here you have found them, and you are indulging yourself as you celebrate this new stage of your life. When we look at the Nine of Cups, it can initially seem like one of the most pleasant cards that may appear during a reading. This is also referred as the wish card, which means that the things that you desire for or your most perfect dream is bound to happen. The Nine of Cups is normally associated with extreme happiness and satisfaction. And maybe, okay, you've experienced a lot of loss, okay? Again, it's about emotions, right? Your intuition. And so it's about losing, well, not losing. I mean, yeah, you could say it's lost, you know. So again, it's emotion, intuition, right? So the Five of Cups is about loss, grief, disappointment, right? You've experienced all this with your mother. Mourning, disconnect, feeling let down. Okay, you've experienced all this. So the Five of Cups symbolizes disappointment and the feeling that comes when things go differently than you expected. You are feeling unhappy that a certain situation hasn't really turned out the way you have really hoped for it would, right? Instead of moving towards a more positive perspective, this card seems to say that you are dwelling in the past, inducing feelings of self-pity and regret. And maybe this is where your mom wants you, okay? Because the card following this is about planning, all right? It's about gathering things, making a plan, and moving forward. So the water, which is actually spilled from the cups, shows that you might have missed an opportunity. It also shows that the problem is mostly emotional and not material or financial. The meaning of the Five of Cups shows that you may have certain issues letting go of things which are in the past, which is understandable, right? What is more, it also shows that you are unwilling to learn from mistakes that you have already committed. I've been there. The card is often going to reflect a person who is so caught up in his or her past that he or she is absolutely capable of moving on. And maybe this is what your mom doesn't want you to do. Maybe she keeps bringing the past up to you. This means that he or she has a high chance of missing out on what new joys that the future can bring. Okay, because obviously the card I just had up here was the wish fulfillment. Okay, so the next card, it's about your mom possibly planning things. Okay? So it's about the wands. It's about fire, willpower, passion, and maybe she's passionate about trying to destroy you. Okay? Excuse me. The Two of Wands, all right? So it's about planning, first steps, right? Making decisions, like the Seven of Swords. Remember, being sneaky, all right? Taking risks. So the Two of Wands is a more mature version of the Ace of Wands. That's a new beginning, All right, that's the beginning of the suit, meaning that tarot card is all about planning and moving forward, progression. Look at it this way. You have already set out to achieve a particular task, which means you have turned an idea into a realistic plan. Such a plan will require fulfillment, and therefore you have to progress from just having a plan to actually achieving what you set out for. Maybe this is describing your mom. Okay, she's always plotting, being deceptive, right? So the swords, all right? So then the swords is about the mind, all right? Again, she's always plotting. She's always stirring up some conflict, all right? She always feels the need to win at all costs, right? Lingering resentment, all right? That's just what it is, all right? So it's about arguing, right? Conflict, hostility, stress, causing you all this, all right? Because again, she doesn't want you to have a better life than her, okay? This card indicates that you are engaging in a conflict of sorts, all right? It can also suggest a disagreement with others, which leads to hostility and tension, despite the fact that you think you're won. This is describing your mother, okay? You might still lose in the big picture because you have annoyed or hurt those that you have argued with. And as a result, you are on the road to isolation or isolating yourself. Perhaps at the moment, you believe that it was more important to be right rather than to appreciate and understand where the other side was coming from. Right now, it's important to attempt to pick up the pieces, which she won't, right? You still have the chance to act while the conflict is still fresh. You may feel as everyone and everything is against you, right? Sounds familiar? And so I asked, where are you in the big scheme of life? You know, where are you in your journey? All right. And the major arcana is a 22 card set within the tarot that is considered to be the core and the foundation for the deck. All of the deck is filled with archetypal significance, but this is more pronounced within the major arcana. And the card that came up for you is seeing things from a different perspective. This is calling you to see things from a different perspective, okay? Let me get back to the description here. These cards follow a storyline that tells of the spiritual travel taken from the innocent wanderer of the fool, that's the beginning of the tarot, to the end of the tarot, the major arcanas, is the world. In other words, these cards tell the story of humanity's spiritual evolution into enlightenment and individuals. Okay, so this is where you're at. The following cards that I'm going to mention are in reverse, meaning that you've experienced this, like the fool. You were the fool, right? In your youth, or when you have dealt with your mom growing up, all right? Think this is your journey from you being a kid to where you're at now, okay? You're starting to see things differently now, okay? So when you're the fool, remember I just mentioned, this is the beginning of the major arcanas. So maybe you were reckless, right? Because you've been through enough. You've been through abuse. You've been wondering, like, man, what is up with my mom, right? You've been taken advantage by your mom, right? She's been inconsiderate, right? The next card is the Magician. She has used trickery, illusions, right? She's out of touch. The High Priestess, meaning a lack of being centered, right? You lost your inner voice, shut up, don't argue with me, blah, 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 right? So you've had repressed feelings, right? Then the Empress, all right? It's about being dependent on your mom because you were a child, right? Maybe she was smothering. Maybe she was full of emptiness. The Empress, which is a tyrant. Maybe she was a tyrant. She was rigid and she was cold. You went through the Hierophant, right? Subversiveness. You tried new approaches to get on your mom's side, better side, right? You kind of had to put yourself on the back burner, and maybe that's what she wants. You went through the Lovers, right? The loss of balance. It was always one-sidedness, right, in your relationship. And it was always disharmony. There was always chaos. You went through the Chariot, a lack of control, lack of direction. You had aggression because eventually you have to have enough, right, of your mom's BS. Then you went through the Strength card, self-doubt. You thought of yourself as weak. There was insecurities, right? Then the Hermit, which was you felt lonely, like nobody could understand you. You felt isolated. You have lost your way. Then there's the Wheel of Fortune, right? You had no control. And these were cycles upon cycles. Clinging to control, bad luck. Like nothing ever worked out because your mom was working against you. You went through Justice, the dishonesty, the unaccountability, the unfairness of dealing with your mom. And this is where you're at right now, the Hangman. This channel is about going deeper into tarot, not just giving you 2 or 3 word answers. I want you to really get it. And this is my channel, and this is what separates me from everybody else. So let's get to you. It is about sacrifice. There's something you need to sacrifice. Something that you've been waiting for. Some uncertainty, perhaps. Again, lack of direction. And I'm not throwing any shade here whatsoever. Maybe there's a new perspective you need to have, or you do have. You're contemplating something. You're not trapped. You're holding yourself here, okay? Because I'm really going to get into this card, okay? So I'm going to really give it to you. In this card, it depicts a man who is suspended upside down, and he is hanging by his foot from the living tree. The tree is rooted deep down in the underworld and is also known to support the heavens. It is believed that the hanging man is actually positioned there by his own free will. This is where you're at. We believe this because of the serene expression which is on his face. His right foot is bound to the branches, but his left foot remains perfectly free. At the same time, he is holding his hands behind his back in a way to which form an inverted triangle. He's wearing a red pants are a representation of the physical body and human passion, while the blue that he wears in his shirt are representatives of calm emotions, a color combination that is commonly seen in saints. His intellect is symbolized by the yellow color of his shoes, hair, and halo. The hangman understands that his position is a sacrifice that he needs to make in order to progress forward, whether as a repentance for past wrongdoings or a calculated step backwards to recalculate his path onwards. This time he spends here will not be wasted. He does this as part of his progression forward. His upside down state can also symbolize the feeling of those that walk a spiritual path, for they see the world differently, where there are others that do not understand the need to sacrifice. You see it differently. This is a natural course of action for you as you walk the path alone. And so the next question is, you remind him of your dad. And I told you that the Eight of Pentacles is what signifies your dad, and that is this person right here. As you can see, this person is working hard, right? Your dad's a hard worker. It's about being stable, security, nurturing, nature, healthy, prosperity, right? Rings a bell. So now the Eight of Pentacles is about like apprenticeship, working hard at your job, being obviously punctual and all those other things, like having high standards. All right, he's committed to his job himself, or whatever he dedicates himself to, right? Whatever he wants to accomplish, right? So let's get right to it. So this card indicates a time that you have to work hard and focus entirely on your tasks. This is not necessarily a negative situation, but this means that you must really strive to be the best. And this describes your dad. Okay, so he's a hard worker. And then I asked another question, am I speaking to a woman? And this came up for you. And this is about a page, all right? Page of Wands. So again, it's about fire, spirit, willpower, passion. Okay, so the page is about, maybe you have a young spirit, or maybe you are young, maybe you're adventurous, right? Like your dad. Maybe you look for excitement in your life. Maybe you like fresh ideas. Maybe you like being cheerful, energetic. And guess who hates that? Your mom. She's a happiness hater. Okay? So this page, when you see the Page of Wands, we see a youth with enormous excitement, a curiosity for the world. He knows what to do. He has the passion to succeed, but due to his inexperience and maybe a little fear of the unknown, his ideas remain abstract. He identifies new worlds to explore, new opportunities. He could take advantage of quite easily, and he is even gifted with the big picture vision needed to succeed. And this is you. Even with all this, he still has the tendency to either remain dormant or get easily distracted with one idea after another. If he doesn't learn to control this, it might be that he squanders the opportunities to advance himself. And this is the video for you. I really hope that it helped you. And again, this is the channel about topics like this, real world topics. And I will see you in a later video.